What happens when a CEO decides to go undercover in his own store? When he steps out from behind his glossy desk and boardroom meetings into the aisles of his own department store, little does he know how much he's about to learn, not just about his business, but about the real world and the people who make it tick. Let's dive in and see the truth unfold. The world knows Robert Bob Halstead as the sharp, polished CEO of Halstead Enterprises, one of the biggest retail chains in the country. His face was on billboards, in commercials, and even featured in magazines, always with a smile, always in a crisp suit. Everyone saw him as the perfect leader, a man who had everything under control, a man who lived a life of success. But behind all of that, Robert was tired. Tired of the endless meetings, the corporate jargon, the pressure to always look perfect. He had become so disconnected from the people who made his empire possible, the store employees, the loyal customers, and the families who relied on his business to make ends meet. One afternoon, after yet another high-pressure board meeting, Robert made a decision. He needed to go undercover to truly understand what his business meant to the people who kept it running. He couldn't just stay up in his ivory tower anymore. He wanted to see the world through the eyes of the people who worked for him, shopped in his stores, and helped him build his fortune. The next day, Robert disguised himself. He dressed in plain clothes, swapped his expensive watch for a simple leather band, and put on a cap to cover his perfectly combed hair. He wanted to blend in, to not be recognized. His first stop was one of Halstead's flagship stores in the heart of the city. The store was buzzing with activity. Employees rushed around stocking shelves, greeting customers, and managing the flow of people. The fluorescent lights buzzed softly overhead. Robert took a deep breath, stepping into the store as if for the first time, even though he'd walked these aisles countless times before, always from a distance. Today, however, he was just another face in the crowd. As he wandered through the aisles, he couldn't help but notice the exhaustion in the eyes of the employees, the wariness of their every movement. It wasn't that they didn't love their jobs, it was that the work was hard, demanding, and relentless. They didn't have time to sit back and reflect. Their jobs, much like Robert's, were a constant race, a cycle that never seemed to slow down. Robert found himself in the home goods section when he saw him. A man in his late 50s, tall, with graying hair and a face that seemed hardened by life. He was quietly picking out a set of kitchen towels, carefully inspecting them, as if choosing something that would truly make a difference in his life. Robert noticed that the man was wearing an old, faded t-shirt with the letters US printed on it. There was something about him that made Robert pause. The man didn't seem like someone who would normally shop at Halstead's. He wasn't flashy. His clothes weren't brand new, and there was an air of quiet humility around him that seemed so different from the usual customers Robert was used to seeing. But what struck Robert the most was the man's eyes. Eyes that seemed to carry years of stories, burdens, and struggles that no one could see at first glance. Curious, Robert walked up to him. "Hey there," Robert said casually, trying to make small talk. "What brings you to this section?" The man looked up slowly, meeting Robert's gaze. His eyes were tired, but there was a flicker of warmth in them. "Just looking for something simple, something practical," he replied in a soft voice. "Something I can use for my new place." Robert nodded, but before he could speak again, the man added, "You ever wonder, though, why we always end up having to buy the things that are supposed to make life easier? Why does it feel like we're always just getting by?" Robert blinked, surprised by the bluntness of the statement. "What do you mean?" The man sighed, his hands shaking just a little as he folded the towels into his basket. "Well, I'm retired now," he began. "I spent most of my life serving in the army, but after I came home, I had to find a way to support myself, you know? Found this job here, working the night shift stocking shelves. I thought it'd be easier. I thought I'd finally be able to rest, but it's still the same grind. Always working, always struggling." Robert's heart ached. He had heard stories like this before, but hearing it from someone standing right in front of him, seeing the weariness in his eyes, hit differently. "That's tough," Robert said quietly. How long have you been working here? 5 years now, the man replied, his voice tinged with both pride and resignation. Before that, I worked a lot of different jobs, but nothing felt like it mattered, you know? I gave so much of myself to the military, and I thought maybe I'd get a break, but it never came. Robert didn't know what to say. He had always seen his company as a business, a way to make money, to grow, to expand. But this man, this retired soldier, wasn't just an employee. He was a person with a story, with dreams that had been deferred, and he was just one of many in the sea of workers that Robert had never really paid attention to. Do you ever think about what you really want in life? Robert asked after a long pause. The man's eyes softened. Every day, he said, looking down at the towels in his basket. But sometimes it feels like the world just moves too fast. I never had the chance to chase what I really wanted, to make a real difference. But I do what I can, for the people I care about. Suddenly, Robert felt like the ground beneath him had shifted. The words the man had spoken weren't just an isolated case. They were the reflection of so many others who worked in his stores. They were the voices of the workers he never truly saw, the ones who gave everything for a paycheck that barely covered their needs. The realization hit him like a ton of bricks. How had he been so blind? How had he never truly understood the lives of the people who kept his empire running? As the man turned to leave, Robert stopped him. "What's your name?" "Joseph," the man replied, giving Robert a small smile. "Joseph, I want to thank you. You've taught me more today than you could possibly know." Joseph chuckled softly. "I don't know about that, but I appreciate it." Robert watched him walk away, and for the first time in years, he felt something stir inside him, a sense of purpose. He wasn't just here to run a business. He was here to make a difference, to change lives. The wheels in his mind began to turn. There was so much he needed to do. Weeks later, Robert invited Joseph to meet with him at the company headquarters. Joseph was hesitant at first, unsure of why the CEO of the company would want to meet with someone like him. But Robert explained, "I've been doing some thinking. I've learned a lot since that day in the store, and I realize I haven't been the leader I need to be." Joseph was taken aback. Robert continued, "I want to start a new initiative, a program that gives workers like you the support they need to build the life they deserve. I want to make sure that no one has to struggle in silence, that no one feels forgotten." Joseph didn't know what to say. This wasn't the Robert Halstead he had imagined. But deep down, he knew that change was finally coming. It was going to take time, but maybe, just maybe, things would get better. And so Robert Halstead, the CEO who once only saw profits and numbers, began a new journey, one where people came first, where their stories mattered. He didn't just want his company to be a place of business. He wanted it to be a place where dreams could be realized, where every person, from the retired soldier to the young cashier, could find a chance to succeed. Lesson: sometimes it takes stepping into someone else's shoes to truly see the world. Robert learned that success isn't just about numbers. It's about the people who help make those numbers possible. And when you start caring about those people, you begin to make a real difference. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.